Welcome back to Botconomics. I frequently get the question, are credit cards a good thing? Are they a bad thing? So today we are going to discuss credit cards, the pros and cons, whether they're good, whether they're bad, and hopefully at the end, you'll be able to make that decision for yourself. So let's talk first about the pros of credit cards. Credit cards are very convenient, right? They're a lot more convenient than using cash or writing a check. And so it is the reason a lot of people carry credit cards is simply because of their convenience. The second thing is that they build credit. So we talked about credit scores a couple videos back. If you haven't watched that, you should go take a look at it. But making timely payments on credit card debt can actually help to build your credit. So could be a good thing. Helps you to track expenses. A lot of apps, credit card apps, banking apps, things like that, break down your expenses into categories for you if you charge them. And so that will be helpful if you are budgeting or if you're trying to keep track of where your money's going. Some will give you rewards for using that credit card, for making charges on that credit card. That can be things like cashback, airline miles, things like that. So again, another good thing about credit cards. They do provide a little bit of security for you. They're not directly linked to your bank account like your debit card is. So a lot of times if someone gets a hold of your credit card number and begins to make charges, your credit card company sometimes will alert you if they're very weird charges, or even if you notice them, a lot of times your credit card company will dismiss the charges off of your account because they were made fraudulently. Also, there are some credit cards, and I have one, my American Express card, that if I make large purchases on it, really any purchase on it, and then I lose that item or I break it, I spill water in my laptop, something like that, within the first few months of owning it, they will actually replace the item for me. And so another level of security that credit cards can offer you. They can be used in emergencies. If you simply don't have the cash to pay for something, you have a medical emergency, something happens to your vehicle, you need to travel for a funeral, something like that, can be used for that purpose. It is not the best way to pay for things and should be a last resort, not the best option. If you can find the money anywhere else, you should probably do that instead of putting it on a credit card. So what are the cons? The cons of using a credit card are huge. First one is high rates of interest. If you do not pay off your balance on a credit card every month, you will incur finance charges. They will charge you to essentially loan you that money. So be careful about that. Credit cards can also encourage overspending. A lot of times we put things on a credit card because we don't have cash for it. We don't actually have the money to pay for it. And so we buy things that we can't really afford. You can actually hurt your credit by using a credit card if you don't make your monthly payments on time. So credit cards are one of those things that can help you build credit, but if you are not responsible in making those monthly payments, or if you get yourself in a situation where you can't afford those monthly payments, it can actually hurt your credit score. So you gotta be careful. The biggest thing, the biggest con here is something I call the cycle of debt. And that's that you get yourself in a situation where you have so much debt on credit cards or anywhere as the case may be, that you end up using this week's or this month's pay to pay for expenses from prior weeks, months, or even years. And so it creates this cycle where we begin to depend more and more on debt because we are using today's money to pay for expenses that we made a long time ago. That's a problem, right? We need today's money to pay for today's expenses. So let's talk a little bit about the way we use credit cards here in the United States and why they've become such an issue. It's because Americans really love credit cards. We love credit, right? We love spending money we don't have. The average American has 4 credit cards with a balance of $6,200 each for a total of almost $25,000 in credit card debt. This is debt that came from things like clothes, vacations, sometimes food, gas, just everyday expenses, but that has added up to $25,000 typically in overspending. Even if you make the minimum payment on those credit cards, which is about $250 per card, by the time you pay it off, making only monthly payments or minimum monthly payments, that $6,200 will now cost you $10,000 to pay off. Not a good idea, okay? Average credit card rate, 16.15, but they can go up over 20%. So you really have to be careful about interest rates on credit cards. Beware of introductory offers. I just got one in the mail, right? And I'm sure you get them too. Not only with snail mail, but also email credit card offers. A lot of times they'll offer you low introductory rates. So for example, like for the first 6 months, you only have 9% interest on your charges or something like that. You have to be careful about that because after that period is up, it'll bump back up to a very high rate of interest. And this latest credit card offer I have doesn't even say the credit card interest that I would be getting on this new credit card, okay? It just says it will be competitive. Gotta be careful. A lot of credit cards offer you debt consolidation. So essentially offer you a credit card to pay off other credit cards. And sometimes they'll even include like these little checks. So you can write checks to your other credit cards to get the balance from a few credit cards consolidated or combined onto one. That's a dangerous practice, right? Because now you have all these empty credit cards that you can charge up again. And so got to be careful about that. And a lot of times, and I've done this too, is credit cards have offered large rewards, especially like airline credit cards or something like that. After your first $1,000 in charges, they will give you a free airline ticket or something like that. Those are good offers, but whether you take advantage of those or not, it really has to do with how you're able to manage credit and credit cards specifically. So I frequently get the question, should I own a credit card? Are they good? Are they bad? And I always answer that question with a question. Can you handle owning a credit card without creating a cycle of debt? Can you use them for their convenience, for their pros, and use them as a budgeting tool, use them as a money management tool, use them for that convenience, get some of those rewards, but pay off your balance every single month so you never pay any interest on that money? Or you think that you would use it as a tool to overspend and create a cycle of debt for yourself? Really, only you know the answer. And I can't tell you if you should own a credit card or not. I can tell you I do own credit cards, and managed appropriately can be really good tools for developing credit and creating a convenient lifestyle where expenses can be tracked and managed appropriately. So I hope that is helpful. I will see you guys next time. Take care.